Coming up on Point Spread Weekly, powered by the Vegas Stats and Information Network. We want to make you a better handicapper, and we've got plenty of sports wagering information to get you ready to take action this weekend. Join VSiN's betting experts and odds makers as they discuss sides, totals, money lines, props, and parlays so you take sharper action. Cashing tickets is what it's all about. It's Point Spread Weekly, powered by VSiN, and it starts right now. VSiN welcomes all of you to Point Spread Weekly, our weekly sports betting show designed to make you a smarter handicapper. Whether you like to take action on games seriously or recreationally, VSiN has the news you need to win 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll spend the next half hour highlighting our best and most relevant information for you, the bettor, so you can cash more tickets come Monday, because cashing tickets is what it's all about. Let's start with my weekday afternoon show, My Guys in the Desert. I heard you and Jonathan Von Tobel when I was coming in, and I can't find anybody. Mike Palm, our good friend over here, he has bet under 11.5, the total of the seeds to reach the Final Four. And I was surprised you're even all over the chalk in this tournament. So
yeah, I hate to be like your buddy Dickie V, who picks the chalk in the bracket every year. But I went through this game by game, and I came out with chalk at the end. Now I have some upsets early, and usually you do have upsets early, and then you have those teams falling by the wayside by the Sweet 16 or so. Mm-hmm. But I've got Duke. I've got Gonzaga. I wanted to pick Texas Tech to the Final Four, but Texas Tech is in the same region with Gonzaga. Mike Palm has Texas Tech. But I had made my mind up that I was going to take the Zags to win this whole thing. I was in Maui, talked to you in November when I was out there, and watched the Zags beat Duke. Mm-hmm. And Duke was at full strength. That's the only team this season to beat Duke at full strength. And the Zags were down a man at that point without Killian Tilly. Hopefully they can get it back. Had a hiccup last week in the West Coast Conference tournament, but I think that might be a positive, Brent, because they had coasted through the West Coast Conference for 2 months, 2.5 months, nothing but 20, 30-point blowouts, and I think that loss could be a good one last week in the West Coast Conference tournament. Also, Virginia's got such an easy road to the Final Four. It was hard to pick Virginia to lose a game. I do have Kentucky as a 2 seed, but, yeah, I hate to have that much chalk.
Hey, Jay, in terms of the future book, we hear, I'll use the South Point as an example, saw a lot of action early in this, even before the season and during the early part of the season, especially on Duke. I'm sure you probably saw the same thing, but some teams that got some play during the course of the season at Tennessee from 40-1, and, of course, they got as low as 8. Florida State as high as 100-1. And Houston, 150-1. What kind of who are some of the teams where you've got some liability as we head into this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest liability position is on Virginia. We had Virginia pretty short in our pool leading up into the tournament. The pool that we run all year. Yes, we had them about 5-2, 3-1, I think, the last few weeks coming into this. We've reopened the pool. We've got Virginia at 6-1, even though they're a pretty significant liability for us. And we also, Texas Tech, we're seeing a lot of action to them. We had them at 30-1 earlier when we opened the pool last night. We're down to 18-1 on them. We saw a little bit of action to them over the course of the year when they would go on and, a little bit of runs here and there. And then LSU is one that we've got quite a bit of handle to as well. LSU really had a nice run in the SEC. They, I think, won the regular season title, and we've got them at 30-1 now, but I think they were as high as 75-1. So, but we're good as long as Virginia doesn't cut down the nets this year. So I'll take our shot there. I think we've got a lot of high-quality teams that are going to be challenging deep into this tournament.
Chrissy, speaking of future books, where's the biggest liability to win the NCAA tournament for South?
For us, it's Kansas State. So
Kansas State,
pretty good team. I mean, listen, they got a shot, but we're well into 6 figures. We lose that one.
You can listen to me and my guys in the desert weekdays at 3 p.m. on SiriusXM 204 and watch us on VSiN.com and Fubo TV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of VSiN's Point Spread Weekly.
Welcome back to Point Spread Weekly, powered by the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
VSiN's morning show, Follow the Money, led by Mitch Moss and Polly Howard, is a network favorite across the country. They provide a daily blend of sports betting talk and pop culture and chemistry. It's unrivaled in the industry. Let's take a look at what these wise guys were up to this week.
Derek Stevens, owner of the D downtown Las Vegas and active content manager down there, Mike Palm, joins us in studio bright and early. Fellas, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, great to be here, guys. This is a great day. Opening day of March Madness. Can't beat that.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us, and good morning, Boston.
It's the best 2 days of the entire year.
Well, no doubt.
Right? It's awesome. You can't beat this. Come on.
Oh, it's
Games
unbelievable.
all day long for 12, 13 hours?
Yeah, I mean, think about this. In Vegas right now, it's 9:30 or it's 6:30 in the morning. They've been lined up for 2 hours trying to get to the ballroom. It's amazing.
Oh, You're going to see people very soon that have had way too much to drink already, right? If you haven't already seen that.
Oh, no question. It's all part of it.
So for the people that are watching the show on NESN, it is the first week that we are on in Boston. The SiriusXM 204 crowd, they know about your bets that you have here, and this is awesome because when they put up props like this here at the South Point, where Chris Andrews posted 4 teams versus the field this year to win the national title. And in the 4 teams, it was Duke, Gonzaga, Kansas, and Michigan. At the time, right, Michigan, they were probably a top 5 team. Kansas were that high as well. You came in and put down $100,000 on the 4 teams that you would get to win the national title.
Yeah, you know, when at that moment in time back in January, I loved this combination of 4 teams, and I kind of thought, you know, you could have an injury here and there, and you know, we saw that with Zion with Duke for a little bit. Obviously, Kansas got hurt, but I love going into the tournament with 2 number 1s and you know, a 2 and a 4 as a dog. There's just so many opportunities here, and yeah, I love the bet. I loved it then, and now I believe I just saw it on the board. It's up to -120 for the 4-team combo.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And you also fired big time on Michigan State. Was that downtown at the Golden Nugget?
Yeah, they gave me 12-1 back a few months ago, and we have Michigan State. So I got 5 teams going to the tournament.
Okay, and Michigan State would pay like $96,000 or whatever it is, I believe. Last year, this was great. You had, what was it, $25,000 on Michigan? That paid $1 million?
Yeah, we had that opportunity, and I bet that at the Golden Nugget. You know, my next door neighbor owns the Golden Nugget. Tillman Fertitta also owns the Rockets, and I don't know if people know this, but you know, as a casino owner, I can't bet at my own property. So downtown's pretty cool. You know, I get to walk next door. I bet at Tillman's casino, and then when Tillman's in town, he walks down the street and he plays at our place. So yeah, we took Michigan at for 25,000 to 40-1, and it was a heck of a run to that final game.
Would you hedge again?
Yeah, we did.
You locked in a profit?
Yeah, I mean, we ran into
You
Villanova.
could use the money, so I mean,
yeah, yeah, we're building a new joint. We can't, yeah. So yeah, we had it. That final game, you know, Villanova was a 330 money line favorite. So my buddy over here, Mike, he had to get the box of cash out, and we walked across the street and bet $330,000 to win 100.
Cardboard box, 400,000 in it. Then he makes the bet. I said, hey, I like this Reds in game over 9.5. Can we put the other 70 on it? Come on, he says. Well, it flew over.
There you go. Good job.
Left money on the table again.
Were you excited when you saw the draw? Because if form holds, you're going to get a team into the title game. If form, because you got Duke the 1, Michigan State the 2, Michigan the 2, Gonzaga the 1.
Yeah, you know, when the bracket came out, or I should say, when I made the bet, I thought, hey, you know, this is one of these wagers where maybe we could win this thing on Saturday in the Final Four. If you get both, you know, both sides. The way the bracket came out, what it did was, you know, you got in the West, you got Gonzaga and Michigan. So obviously one of them's going to get knocked out, but it increases the probability one of them's getting to the Final Four. And then, you know, on the Duke side, in the East region, If they make it to the Final Four, so it looks like, I got a pretty clear path to having 2 in the Final Four, and at that point, on a bet like this, particularly when you're a dog, you have so many outs here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If you want to bail, if you want to maybe buy some back, Duke's going to be favored against anybody, right?
Yeah. And
Gonzaga, if they actually make the title game, they're probably, as of right now, they're probably a favorite against Virginia or North Carolina on a neutral as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. This is a little bit easier to hedge out than it was when you had to go up against Villanova last year. So yeah, there's a lot of outs here, and it's going to be a lot of fun on this run for the next couple weeks.
You can listen to Follow the Money with Mitch and Paul weekday mornings from 4 to 7 a.m. and 9 to noon on Sirius XM 204, and watch them on VSiN.com and Fubo TV. We'll be right back with more of VSiN's Point Spread Weekly right after this. Stick around.
Welcome back to Point Spread Weekly, powered by the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
Some sports bettors, like me, bet with their gut, but others use a more measured approach. Gil Alexander is one of those people. He has one of the most unique perspectives on betting in the industry. His show, A Numbers Game, takes a more analytical approach to sports betting by exposing, analyzing, and targeting key data in handicapping the games. Let's see what he's been cooking up in the laboratory this week.
As far as you, Mr. Krakenberger, can we point the camera at you for a second? You, sir, are one of the stars of a Showtime documentary, which we have alluded to here on the show before, called Action. It's about sports betting. It is a 4-part documentary that debuts. Part 1 will debut Sunday night. So this coming Sunday, right? Just 4 days away, 5 days away.
This coming Sunday, 8 p.m. prime time, Showtime.
4 days away, 8 p.m. prime time. You've gotten a sneak peek of this now?
I've seen episode 1 and 2, yes.
How do you feel?
I feel good about my stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and I feel good about the show. I'll tell you what, you're going to meet someone that's a local here every day. At first, I was like, oh,
local here at the South Point?
Yeah, like a Eddie Mush type.
Yeah.
So you're going to meet someone
not
that
actual name, but yes.
You couldn't win with tomorrow's newspaper. He admits that too. He admits it. So
let's see. How do I bet this box score that I have?
Yeah. So when I seen him originally on it, and I seen some of the scenes, I was like, it maybe could have done. I could have found someone that was more mopey, and I could have, I know some guys that are just total degenerates, and would actually come on and try to help people and say, listen, this is what happened to me. This is your game. This is your brain on gambling. This is your brain, like something like that, But actually, after watching it a few more times, I love him.
Yeah.
And I got to realize it after seeing his scenes, some of the scenes when he's interacting with people. So just remember that. When he's interacting with people in the book here, I'll tell you, after watching it a second time, I was physically crying watching him. Because he doesn't even know how funny he is.
Crying with laughter, yeah.
Laughing.
Yeah.
It's just, I'll tell you, it's...
Well, here's what the Showtime crew came in, and these are award-winning guys who were behind this Showtime documentary Action. What they sought to do, and they will do this over 4 episodes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Bill, on any of this. What they were seeking to do is to show as many aspects, as many angles of sports betting, now with legalization, as they could given their time parameters. And so what they were able to, what they sought to do was to do it with their Hollywood expertise to... They had 4 months, by the way. Now, imagine if you didn't know about a subject. Imagine if you had very little knowledge of a subject. I don't know. I always bring up, for me, Bill, let's say somebody came to me and said, all right, Gil, we want you to make a 4-hour documentary on opera. Have at it. Dude, that would be the worst documentary you'd ever see in your life because I would have no idea. I'd have to rely on people to tell me who to talk to.
Right.
So on and so forth. But they are so good at what they do that they... were very confident and able to do it. Now, here's the thing. Inevitably, in their attempt to do this, they are not going to be able to please everyone. Just like we talked about the NCAA selection committee, they're not going to be able to do any bracket that's going to result in no complaints. Somebody's going to be upset about something. But generally speaking, do you think that they achieved their goal in a very solid fashion?
Yes. Yes, I do. I not just trust me. I had my differences. I think I should get an AP. Is that what it's called? Associate producer credit on the show.
Yeah.
I gave them some good ideas to do things. Because,
me too.
You know, exactly, you too.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't take that guy that's going to do opera, doesn't know opera, but he's told to do this show on opera without listening to the advice of people that are in opera.
Right.
So
maybe I should listen to this guy over here.
Yeah, they did have us, and you know we know the pulse of the business, so at least they did listen. So a lot of times they won't.
They listened to some degree.
Yeah, no, to
they
some
also
degree.
didn't listen.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they felt like they know how to make a good production.
Right.
And here's the thing, and here's what I would say to everybody too, because some people on gambling Twitter are going to have their complaints. That's how it always goes.
Well, sure. Most people that hide behind the safety of gambling Twitter and the safety of their keyboard also.
That's right. The anonymity, the what I like to call the courage of anonymity.
Yeah.
Bill. The courage of anonymity. But you know what I would suggest people do also? Have their girlfriends and wives who are clearly not as immersed in this as we are. Have
great.
them watch it.
Absolutely.
And you will be, I'm guessing, amazed at how wrong you might be about how people are soaking it in.
That's very good. That's great. But unfortunately, a lot of these idiots don't even have girlfriends and wives because who will put up with them?
I'm sorry. I failed to put that into the equation.
I mean, who's going to put up with them? Anytime I see guys like this, I say, listen, hey, how you doing? I try to be nice at first. I want to get this out of them. So what's your ex-wife's name? Well, how do you know I have an ex-wife? Well, who could stand you? Of course you have an ex-wife. So
ex-wife cashes at minus 285.
But, absolutely. There's some people with their mindsets up, and there's some industry people that are in the business that are professional sports bettors that are very good at sports betting. They're not good at communicating on air, so they already have a fixed thing in their mind that, this show's going to be terrible, and they say, I'm not going to watch it.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll bet my whole bankroll versus a can of Pepsi
that
you're going to watch the show.
They're going to watch it.
Give me a break.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So we look forward to it. It's Sunday night. It's the first of the 4-part series called Action.
You can listen to A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander weekday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. on Sirius XM 204 and watch him on VSiN.com and Fubo TV. Don't go anywhere. Point Spread Weekly continues right after this.
Welcome back to Point Spread Weekly, powered by the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
A betting edge is any knowledge a player employs to gain an advantage over the bookmakers. It takes skill, patience, and proper money management to overcome these odds. And on VSiN's weekday afternoon show, The Edge, our hosts find advantages to separate recreational sports bettors from sports investors. Let's check in with Matt Humans, Jonathan Von Tobel, and Sam Panayanovich with The Edge.
So number one seeds here. And I think this is a conversation you can have because I don't know which one is going to make it the farthest. I actually have a couple number ones in my Final Four. But as far as number one seeds that will be knocked out early, you've got Duke in the East, Virginia in the South, Carolina in the Midwest, Gonzaga in the West. Which one are you not high on?
I think Virginia's draw is interesting because they drew a region with a lot of slower-paced teams. You get Wisconsin, you get Oregon in that bracket, you got Cincinnati, you got Purdue. It's different than Duke, Gonzaga, and North Carolina's path. That said, North Carolina's path has to go through Kentucky, and that to me is the best number 2 seed in the field. And not that I'm lower on North Carolina than I am on Virginia, but they have a more difficult field if they're going to have to meet up with Kentucky in the Elite Eight. I think Kentucky's got the size to give North Carolina a problem. P.J. Washington, more likely than not, will be healthy towards the end of the tournament. And I think you could see North Carolina lose that game in a close one in the Elite Eight.
See, I like Carolina because I love upper-class players that can make shots. And Luke May and Cameron Johnson, to me, are just two guys that I've seen them do this in tournaments past. I mean, how about Luke May's shot when he was a sophomore in the tournament as a sophomore? I mean, I think Carolina, I have them in my title game, so I'm not going to knock them out first. And I also have Gonzaga in the title game. So if I had to pick one team, and this is very hot-takey, I feel very hot-takey right now, I think the shortest shelf life belongs to the Duke Blue Devils, number 1 seed.
And you got a good.
They can't shoot.
You got a good case to make. If they meet up with Sparty in the Elite Eight like they're supposed to, that will be a tough defensive game. Michigan State can hold them and limit them behind the 3-point line. But isn't it amazing though, Duke? I think they were 1 for 15 towards the end of that game from the 3-point line versus North Carolina, and yet they somehow find a way. So. It's going to be interesting. The odds are definitely – there's no value on taking Duke.
I feel very, very takey knocking out the, tournament favorite, plus 225 to win the tournament. I'm like, yeah, they're going to get knocked out first. But to me, if they get into a shootout and a team that has the capability to do that, if you look at that Sweet 16 potential matchup with Virginia Tech, a team that guards very well, a team that has a great guard in Justin Robinson, they have shooters that can make shots. Duke is shooting 31% from 3 this year. Now, their defense creates offense, and when they feed the beast, they're almost unbeatable. But a young team with 19 and 20-year-olds, if they fall behind 6, 7, 8 points and they start hoisting, that's when they can be beaten, and that's what I'm concerned about.
They can, but go back to a couple of the comebacks that they've had this year. They'll always have a game like Louisville where they came down from 21 down in that second half and came back and won. Team like that in this tournament, they lean on that type of experience. They know mentally they've come back from a type of deficit where if they get themselves in that situation now, they can make a run.
So the one team we haven't talked about yet, as far as an at-length breakdown, is Gonzaga, the number 1 seed in the West. What's your feel on Gonzaga? Because I've talked to some people that watch them lose to Marys in the conference tournament game in the championship and go, they're not that good. How do you feel about it?
I think that loss was good for them. That game meant so much more for St. Mary's than it did for Gonzaga. Gonzaga, what were they really going to gain if they won that game? Maybe the overall number 1 seed? I didn't think that was happening anyways. That was going to whoever won, Duke or North Carolina. And St. Mary's needed that to get into the tournament. So Gonzaga, to me, I think they hit the reset button off a loss like that when you're on such a good winning streak. They've blown out teams all year. They get their center Tilly back, who wasn't even with Gonzaga when they beat Duke earlier in November. And I think you have a team that's got size. Hachimura is an NBA player, first rounder. They've got shooters. They've got experience. I think this is a really tough team in the tournament. I think they could beat Duke again if they face them. That's another coin flip game. I don't see Gonzaga going out early in this tournament. They're going to get the winner of Syracuse and Baylor. That's a Gonzaga win. They're going to get potentially Murray State, Marquette, Florida State. After that, I think those are Gonzaga wins. I think this team has a pretty good path to the Final Four.
You can listen to The Edge with Matt, John, and Sam weekday afternoons from noon to 3 p.m. on Sirius XM 204 and watch them on VSiN.com and Fubo TV. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Make sure to go to VSiN.com and learn more about betting on sports and find out how you can watch us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next weekend. Remember, cash and tickets is what it's all about.